Okay, so I'm currently hiking through Hot Springs, North Carolina. The trail goes right through the center of town, and the town is pretty much just this one street. It's around 11:30, and it's time to get going. So let's go. Okay, so I've officially left Hot Springs, and I'm back on trail. Today I'm doing about 10.5 miles, I think, to get to this shelter. And as I was hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hello. How's it going? As I was walking through town, this guy walks past me and he goes, "Be careful out there. I just saw a bear last night." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then this other guy driving by just stops in the middle of the road on a bridge and reaches out of his window and hands me 2 little Snickers bars and tells me to make it to Maine. So that's what I'm gonna try to do. I said goodbye to Lorraine and Megan / Neon again. We did end up meeting back up in Gatlinburg. We were there at the same time, and then they hiked into the Hot Springs yesterday while I was taking a 0. So they're taking a 0 today. And I was telling them about my itinerary for the next couple weeks that I put together. And if I stick to that, it doesn't look like they will be like keeping up with me much. So it may be a while before I see them again, but we were able to hug and say a proper goodbye this time. So I'm pretty happy with that and not teary-eyed today. I had a great 0 in Hot Springs. I only took 1 this time, as y'all can see. But yeah, it's time to get to moving again. Today's gonna be a hard day. I knew that going into it. Mileage wise, not so bad. I'm only doing about 11.5 today, but it is all uphill. And I left town so late today that I'm probably going to be rolling into camp right around sunset. If I happen to get there earlier than that, then kudos to me, but I don't really feel like I'm in a rush or anything. I just want to get this climb over with, 1 step at a time. But yeah, my pack is heavy with a full resupply, so it's not the most fun. It's very hard, but we got to keep going. So while I was zeroing yesterday and getting all of my chores done, I put together a pretty ambitious itinerary for this next stretch of trail. Basically, I'm not planning to take another 0 until I get to Damascus, Virginia, which is about 200 miles away from where I am right now. And I am planning to hopefully get there in 13 days. So 200 miles or about 192 miles in just under 2 weeks. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't still be stopping in different towns, checking out hostels and stuff. There's still Erwin, Tennessee, which I will be reaching in the next few days. There's Station 19E hostel or something like that. And then there's something else that I can't think of right now. But pretty much my plan is to roll into town on those days, get my resupply done, spend the night, and then hike out the next morning. So we'll see how that goes. That is my plan for now. I'm really excited to get to Virginia. I have some friends back home who I know want to come out and meet me in different places in Virginia. So I'm happy to and excited to see some familiar faces again, hopefully. But yeah, we're just gonna take it a day at a time. We're gonna get through these miles one way or another. And if I do end up having to take a 0 or 2, I'll do that. But initially, I'm just not planning to do that. So we'll see what happens. This is a pretty pond. Nice place to stop and eat a little snack. As y'all can see, I am back to being alone. I know Alicia in the Mountains was in my last video back in Hot Springs, but she's actually about 2 or 2.5 days behind me. What she did was she got a shuttle into Hot Springs because I think she's planning to take like 3 zeros there because she's nursing some Achilles issues, I think. So yeah, it was nice to spend that one day with her, someone who I am already familiar with, and I immediately felt comfortable around her again, and we had a good time. Haven't really seen Rocket or Casey at all today. Haven't talked to them. Basically, when we got into Hot Springs, they sort of had their own plans and I had mine. And the two of them, they started the trail together, so they are doing their thing together. It was nice to hang out with them for the last few days. Yeah, I had a good time with them, and I might see them again. As far as I know, they were leaving town today, just like I am, so I'll probably run into them again at some point. But yeah, I'm starting to notice that a lot of people are starting to buddy up, and families are being formed. And I do have like my little group of people that I enjoy being around, like Lorraine, Neon. We even saw Mary back at Hot Springs, and it was nice to see her again and talk to her. I just had to let her know that I was never angry with her. I was more so frustrated with the situation at hand. But my hand is healed up. She's doing well. She got a little thing to put on the dog's leash that says "do not pet," so that shouldn't happen again. But yeah, it was nice to see all those folks. But for now, I'm still just solo dolo out here, which I'm cool with. Like I said, I set my own little itinerary. I'm hiking as many miles as I want to hike, and I don't have to worry about anybody but me. And I came out here by myself, so I'm not really worried about finding a buddy or a tramley or whatever. Like, if it comes, it comes. If not, I see people in passing. We have conversations, and we keep it pushing. But hey, I'm doing good. I'm feeling good, and I'm happy. So that's all that matters. So let's get back to it. Every time I stop and look up and I see mountains off in the distance, I'm like, man, did I really walk through that? Did I walk over those? How insane. So I'm less than a mile and a half away from the shelter where I plan to stop for the day. Just have this last climb to get up to where the shelter is. But I'm not actually sure if I really want to sleep up there because I figure it'll be pretty windy and a little cold on top of the mountain. So I think I might keep going past the shelter, back down the other side of the mountain into the next gap where it would hopefully be a little warmer and not so exposed. So once I get up there, I'll sort of make a decision as to what I'm gonna do. It's only like 4 o'clock right now, so I still have time. So we'll just see. $11 and a half done so far today. Just made it to Spring Mountain Shelter, which is actually quite tiny. But I don't think I'm gonna stay here because I feel like there's gonna be a lot of wind coming through tonight, so we're gonna keep it pushing. All right, so the original plan for today was to do 11 and a half miles. I ended up doing 13 exactly and found a little stealth tent site with a few other hikers. I'm actually glad that I stopped instead of trying to push on a little further. We can save the bigger miles for tomorrow and the next few days. It's a pretty cool evening with the sun setting, and I'm about to eat dinner, and I think I might be losing one of my toenails on my left foot. The toe that's right next to my pinky toe, right under the nail, is like so painful and every step hurts. So I think there might be a blister growing under that toenail, which means that toenail is probably going to be falling off in a week or so. That's like something that disgusts me so much, but I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I'm probably gonna wrap it up tonight in some Leuko tape and just deal with it. But I'm about to eat dinner and then I'll be going to bed pretty soon.
I just laid in there and listen to those owls hoot. Listen to the bugs crawl all over my tent.
Hey y'all, it is just about 9:30 on Friday, March 25th. Today is day 33 on the AT, and I'm planning to do a 20-mile day today. I have a sort of drawn out climb coming up. So for about 6.5, 7 miles, I'll be climbing, and then the rest of the day will be pretty much leveled out. And then there's a little bit of downhill. So I think that'll make it a pretty easy 20 miles. I had a good night's sleep last night, so I'm feeling good today, feeling rested and energized. last night I was mentioning one of my toes on my foot, the toe right next to my pinky toe on my left foot. Yesterday, as soon as I put my shoes on and started walking, I could feel some like pain, discomfort with every step. And as I continued to walk, it sort of went away. But then whenever I would take a break and start up again, I would feel it again. So when I got to camp last night, I took my shoe and my socks off, and as soon as I did that, the pain sort of went away. And I was getting a little concerned that I might have a blister growing under that toenail. And I don't know how I would have a blister just under this one toenail, but it's a possibility. I mean, the one thing that I did like about my Ultra shoes was that the toe box is so wide that they allow your toes to naturally spread out as you're walking. And I never had to worry about my toes like jamming into the front of the shoe because they had so much space to breathe. But with these Brooks shoes, the toe box is narrow like a normal pair of shoes. So I'm afraid, especially when I'm going downhill, that my toes could be like jamming up against the front of the shoe. I don't necessarily feel that happening too much, but it could be happening and I'm just not noticing it. Or at least with this one toe, which again, don't really know how that's possible, but to be on the safe side, I wrapped my toe and the nail with some Leuco tape this morning, and that has lessened the discomfort significantly. And I can still feel a little twinge when I step, but there's no pain so far. I'm hoping that I don't lose that toenail because that's one of my biggest fears. And I remember when I first saw the movie Wild with Reese Witherspoon, and that very first scene in the movie, she's like ripping one of her toenails off, and that immediately became one of my biggest fears when I took an interest in thru hiking. So if I can save this nail, I will at all costs. And all my nails. But yeah, I'm happy to get going today. It's feeling pretty good already. I know I'll be shedding some layers in a little bit. So yeah, let's go. Look at that. Now entering Cherokee National Forest. We are starting the big and really only climb of the day. 5 miles, about 2,500 feet of elevation gain. It should be pretty gradual and drawn out, so I'm not too concerned about it, but I do just want to get it done. Taking a break at the shelter. We're about halfway up the climb. So it has been pretty easy and gradual, which I like. And of course, I ran all the way up here because it's about time to take care of some business. Big climb of the day is over, period. I don't know where the sun went, but she needs to come back because this thing got a little chilly out here. Yeah, I have a little more than 5 miles to get to the next shelter. So I'm probably gonna stop there and eat lunch. And then I think I'm gonna continue on another 7 miles from there to get to another shelter. I think it's called Flint Mountain Shelter. So that'll make today a 20-mile day. And thankfully, it's mostly downhill. No serious climbs today. No serious descents either. So it should be pretty steady terrain where I can just walk. And this is really where I'm able to pick up the pace and make miles, because when I'm just walking, pretty much I walk at a New York pace, having lived in New York City for 5 years. So I'm pretty fast. So yeah, let's keep going. Well, this morning I thought the sun would come out and give us a nice, warm, sunny day, but it's actually really overcast, as you can see, and feels like it's getting colder by the hour.
I haven't seen any exposed ridgeline.
I guess they just mean like overhead exposed. It's starting to feel a little exposed. Oh yeah. There she goes. I'll tell you one thing, this is not the trail for me to have a fear of heights, because they literally just put you on top of these ridge lines. Like, look at this. We're up here. It is pretty cool. Guess who just hit mile 300? Yes! 300 miles! Yeah! 333 days with 7 zeros. I ain't mad at that. Yeah, I'm so happy to hit 300 miles. But there's also a cold front moving in, and it's getting colder by the hour. So I gotta keep moving. We're like a mile and a half away from this Jerry something shelter, so I'll stop there and eat a quick lunch, and then I'll decide whether I want to try to keep going to the next shelter or not. But I definitely need to throw on some extra layers because it is getting cold. Woo. All right, I just took a quick lunch break here at Jerry Cabin Shelter. I literally swallowed my lunch in one bite because I just want to keep it moving. Got another 6.5 miles to Flint Mountain Shelter, where I'm planning to stop for the night. And it's supposed to rain and possibly snow overnight, so I'm probably going to sleep in the shelter because we know I don't want to wake up to that tomorrow morning in my tent. All right, next climb is up Big Butt Mountain. Let's get it done. Making our way up Big Butt. It's honestly not a bad climb at all. Let's all thank Jesus together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my gosh. The sky ain't looking too pretty, but I don't think it's actually supposed to start doing anything until later tonight, like 9 o'clock or whatever, and I will be in my quilts by then. So I forgot to report that I finally learned what happened to my insurance cards. So I ended up calling the lodge back at Fontana Dam, and I asked if they could check to see if they had ever received my envelope. And it turns out they did get it 2 days after I hiked out of Fontana Dam. And that's why the post office kept telling me they didn't have it, they didn't have it, they didn't have it. But my whole thing is, the last notification I got from USPS was that my package was delivered to a P.O. box at the Fontana Dam post office. They never updated me to tell me that it had moved from the post office to the lodge. So that's why I was steadily calling the post office, and they kept telling me they didn't have it. So I didn't really want to fool with trying to bounce it forward to the next post office, because I already tried that once. So I just called the lodge and I asked them if they could send the envelope back to the post office and have them return it to sender. So they said they could do that. So I think when I get to Maryland, since my parents and some of my family and friends want to come meet me at Harper's Ferry anyway, I'll just have my mom bring my insurance card and I'll just get it from her then. But in the meantime, she did send me photos of my insurance cards just in case. But I'm happy that that little situation is solved. And I wish the post office did a better job of providing updates, because if you're just telling me my item was delivered to a P.O. box, then how am I supposed to know that it was moved from the P.O. box and actually taken to the address that I asked it to be delivered to? Like, doesn't make any sense. But yeah, just wanted to give an update on that. I'm probably about 3.5 miles away from Flint Mountain Shelter, and I will be done for the day. It feels kind of eerie and spooky being out here alone, and since we're moving into the later afternoon, evening hours, it's getting a whole lot quieter, and other hikers have already settled in at the last shelter, so I think I'm going to be the last one hiking in today, which is cool. I don't care. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep moving until I get there. As soon as I mentioned that it's starting to feel a little eerie, I come up on this sign that says Shelton Graves up this little side trail. So guess where I'm not going? Oh, that's the key. Please, I ain't going up to see no graves. All right, so Flint Mountain Shelter is right up ahead here. That's 20.5 miles done on the day. And I think it's just after 6 o'clock. So I've still got at least an hour and a half of light left for the day. So I'm not gonna waste any time setting myself up to go to bed, and I'm just gonna eat a quick dinner and lay down because I am tired.
If you move around, you can warp everyone.
What's up, y'all? Today is Saturday, March 26th. It's day 34. And for those who might be wondering, I try to make sure that I say the date and what day I'm on, just to help myself sort of keep track, because it's easy to like lose your days out here, and I'll forget what day of the week it is. I'll forget what the date is. So I just make sure I say it to myself every day. And it'll also be helpful when I decide to watch these videos back in the future. It's a slow start today, honestly, for all of us who were back at the shelter. Last night it got down to freezing again, and it sprinkled some rain and snow as the forecast predicted. And then this morning it was just really cold, and the wind has been blowing really hard, which makes it even colder. So everybody was struggling to get up this morning, and I was surprised that I was actually the first one up and moving at 7 a.m. And I'm one of the first ones to start hiking for the day, which I'm usually one of the last ones. And it's like 9:45 right now. Only a couple of people have left before me, and everyone else is still back at the shelter trying to like warm themselves up, and they're just taking their time. But honestly, it's not really gonna warm up much today, which is why I just decided to get moving anyway. The weather for today is supposed to stay right in that freezing range, maybe a little bit above freezing, like 35 degrees, but it's supposed to be very windy all day today, and there's a wind advisory. So I decided to see where the next hostel is, and I saw that there's one called Nature's Inn Hostel about 11 miles from the shelter. So that's pretty much all the hiking I'm gonna do today. There's a big climb coming up. I think it's called Big Bald, if I'm not mistaken. And the next shelter is up on top of that bald, and it's like 19 miles away. And I'm definitely not hiking up there to sleep in below freezing temperatures and high winds tonight. So I'm making the smart decision yet again of hiking to the nearest hostel. And I already called. They said they have bunks available for tonight, so I'm just gonna crash there and then take off again tomorrow when it's a little warmer, and push for another big 20-mile day to get up and over Big Bald. I really hope that's called Big Bald, and I'm not just like saying the wrong name over and over again, but I'm sure I'll tag it in here somewhere. Yeah, I was a little annoyed this morning by this one individual who slept in the shelter last night. Everything was cool last night. We were all sort of chit-chatting, getting to know each other a little bit. But this morning, as I wake up and I'm starting to get moving, all I hear is this person next to me constantly saying, "Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Everything hurts. I need to take some aspirin. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit." And I'm like, if you don't shut the hell up, like, if you're in that much pain, then like, deal with it. But we don't need to keep hearing about you in pain every 2 minutes. Literally, that's all he would say. "Oh, fuck. Oh, shit." And I'm like, if you're that hurt, take some medicine. Do something. I don't care. Just shut up. Damn. He kept talking about, oh, I've hiked over 300 miles and haven't taken any pain medicine, but at the same time, he's complaining about pinched nerves and sore this and that hurting. And I'm like, well, go get yourself checked out. Go to a doctor, because you have a lot of issues that you don't seem to be dealing with. And guess what? We're all in pain. Welcome to the Appalachian Trail. This is what through hiking is. Like, I don't need to keep hearing about you in pain every 30 seconds and you just dropping F-bombs left and right. Like, yeah, I curse. It's cool or whatever, but all morning long I'm sitting there and all I hear is, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Like, bitch, if you're dropping all these F-bombs, how about you shut the F... Shut up. I swear he was driving me crazy. And he appeared to be one of those people who like needs to fill the room with hot air every second. And he was just talking and talking and talking and not really saying anything. And the rest of us are just sitting there like not even responding anymore. And I'm like, please, social cues. I need you to learn how to pick up on them. Then he's talking about, oh, I need to go use the privy, but I don't feel like getting up. And I'm like, well, stop talking about it. Go use the privy if you have to go. Lord Jesus. I'm sorry, I had to rant because he was really driving me crazy. So yeah, that was extra motivation for me to get up and get moving because I could not sit there and listen to him anymore. So yeah, we've got 11 miles to do today. Should be pretty easy. And I'll see y'all in a bit. Oh my God, it's windy as hell. But look, we got trail magic. I'm here at Devil's Fork Gap. Not even 3 miles on the day. And Giggles is here doing some trail magic. Someone about to give me a couple hot dogs. And look at all these snacks. Yes, my next hot dog. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. And it's Giggles. It's Giggles, right?
It is Giggles.
Yes. Yeah, I'll just do one more.
Okay.
Yeah, hot dog. I've already had 2. And this is my 3rd one. It's windy as hell, but look how pretty that is. So pretty. I appreciate Giggles for showing up with that trail magic. Those hot dogs were clutch. And I ate 3 of them after eating breakfast this morning. But man, she couldn't have picked a worse spot to set up shop. That gap was just a wind tunnel. And now I'm on the other side of this little hill and the wind just completely stopped and it's sunny and it's feeling warmer, but where she's parked, it was just freezing and I was getting swept up by the wind, child. That was a lot. But thank you, Giggles. And good luck on the PCT this year. Maybe I'll be out there in the future. Who knows? So yeah, continuing on to Sam Gap, where I will be shuttled to Nature's Inn Hostel. Just took a little break here at Hogback Ridge Shelter. I've got just under 2.5 miles to get to Sam's Gap, where I will be shuttled to the hostel. Let's get it done. Bunkhouse right down there. That's where me and a few other hikers are gonna be sleeping tonight. Okay, so we've been at this hostel for maybe an hour and a half, close to 2 hours now. And we were also relieved to be indoors and to take a warm shower. But lo and behold, the shower water was freezing cold. Like, I'm telling you, that must have been the fastest shower I ever took in my life. Like, I turned the knob all the way to the hottest hot that I could get, and it was barely lukewarm. And I was like, you know what? I'm over it. .com.
Really bad, but like you got that.
Today's Sunday, March, what's today? The 26th, I think, 27th. Day 35. Dang, I completely lost track of my days, but it's cold as hell. It's 8 a.m. and we are about to head back to the trail. So let's go. So we just got dropped back off at Sam's Gap. I don't know if you can tell, but it is really cold and still really windy. But I was thankful to have a warm night back at Nature's End Hostel. Even though the showers were cold, at least the bunkhouse had a working heater. But I gotta press on because I'm planning on getting to Erwin, Tennessee tomorrow. And first thing we've got to do today is a 6.5 mile climb up this huge bald, which is rightfully named Big Bald. So I already know it's gonna be even more cold up there. So I just want to hurry up and get that done this morning so that I can get back down to a lower elevation as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's gonna be about an 18.2 mile day, which will get me to No Business Knob Shelter. And that's only 6 miles outside of Erwin, Tennessee. So my plan is to sleep there tonight and then Nero into Erwin tomorrow so that I can have most of the day tomorrow to relax and resupply and maybe check out another pair of shoes. So that's the plan. And I'm not really gonna do a whole lot more talking right now because it's cold and my fingers are stinging, so I gotta get moving, get the blood flowing. So yeah. Probably. So I looked at my toe last night and it was looking pretty good. It's feeling pretty good. I'm not noticing any color changing under the nail. I'm not noticing the nail lifting at all. I'm not really feeling any pain or discomfort anymore. Maybe that's because I started doing things to address the issue as soon as I started feeling pain, instead of just like letting it continue on. So pretty much when I'm hiking during the day, I will keep my toe taped up with Leukotape, and then at night when I get to camp or a hostel or whatever, I'll take the tape off, try to clean it as much as I can, and then I'll just let it air out overnight. And I guess that seems to be helping. I've also slightly changed the way that I lace my shoes, just to help my foot feel more secure in the shoe, to try to prevent some of that like sliding forward that causes my toes to jam into the front. And yeah, I'm also slowing and shortening my steps when going downhill to also prevent my toes from hitting the front of my shoe. So I think all that stuff is working, and tomorrow when I get to Erwin, I can head into town to the outfitter and ask them what they think the best sort of solution is. But today I'm feeling pretty good. Yesterday I didn't have a whole lot of issue, and neither the day before that. So I'm hopeful. Man, we just keep moving up higher and higher in elevation, and the air is just getting colder and colder, and the wind is getting stronger and stronger. Today is one of those days where I could use one of those balaclavas, or you know, those like ski mask type things that go over the face. Because the wind just sweeps through and it stings a little bit. My fingers are stinging. I'm gonna have to pull out my down gloves, and I'm probably gonna have to throw my outer puffy jacket on and hike in that for the first time, which I said I would never hike in that, but it's just that cold, and we're at too high of an elevation right now. I still have another 1.5 miles to get to the top of this bald, and I'll be at over 5,500 feet in elevation at these temperatures. So I don't think I'll be up there long, although there is a shelter up there, so I might duck inside the shelter, throw on some extra layers, and eat a little snack. But I think that's going to be pretty quick, because I want to get off this mountain and get to a lower elevation as quick as possible. Whew. I think that might be the summit of Big Bald right up there. You can see this bald spot right on top of the mountain where the trees just sort of stop. That's pretty much what a bald is. And I'm about 1.2 miles away right now, so it's just one last push up to the summit. So a lot of these really tall mountains and balds, they have these bad weather alternate routes, where if it's like a thunderstorm or really rainy, you have the option of taking this side route sort of around the summit instead of going up to the summit where you're just completely exposed. I haven't taken any alternates yet. Don't really plan on it. And it's a beautiful day, so I definitely want to see the summit. So we're gonna go up. This is what the final push to the summit usually looks, feels, and sounds like. Easy way to describe it, death. A few more steps and I'll be there. I hope. Child, you turn a corner and you think you're done and the trail just keeps going up and I'll be like, bitch, cut it out. That's enough. Ooh, let's get up here. I think this is it. This is the summit. Yeah. Look at that. We're on top of everything. So I just checked the weather and it is 29 degrees outside right now. No wonder I've been so cold all day. I'm pretty okay as long as I'm moving since the sun is out, but when I stop like I am now, it gets cold really fast. And I know I said I would never hike in my puffy jacket or my down mittens, but I am opting for these today just because I want to warm up some. The high for today is about 35, 36 degrees, which we should be seeing temperatures around there closer to 3, 4 o'clock. And right now it's only like 12 noon, so it's still a few hours away. I just stopped for a quick lunch and I'm gonna get moving again in a few minutes, but I think I might hit the privy first just to get that out of my system. Yeah, it's still a pretty day. No complaints. I'm happy, having fun. Beautiful views on Big Bald. Yeah, not much else to report there. Puffy and mittens are coming in super clutch right now. I feel so much better, so much warmer, and like I said, I have about 10 miles left to do today, and it's mostly downhill aside from 3 little uphill jaunts, which shouldn't be much of anything. But it's like 12:30 now, and I'm hoping to roll into the shelter by like 4 o'clock. That's when it's supposed to be the warmest today, around like 35 degrees. And I really want to get settled in around that time when it's still a little warmer, because I know it's supposed to get really cold tonight. Like, I think overnight it's gonna drop down to like 20 degrees, and then by the time I get up tomorrow morning, I think it's supposed to be like 17 degrees. So I'm probably going to hike to Erwin in my sleep clothes and pretty much all my layers tomorrow. And thankfully it's only like 6.3 miles from the shelter into town. So It's gonna be a cold one. But I started in February. I was expecting to have to deal with some brutal temperatures at some point or another. I can't hide out in hostels and hotels all the time, so tonight we're gonna brave it and we'll be all good. And I mean, it can always be worse, right? At least it's sunny. It's not raining, not snowing. The wind is blowing, but it's not super terrible. So still a pretty good day, just a cold day. But we're a few days away from April, which means the warmer spring weather is on the way. We just don't know when exactly it'll get here. So yeah, let's get these miles done. I bet you I have a ton of climbing friends back home who would love to come play on this baby. For those of y'all who don't know, I was the assistant director of a climbing gym in Baltimore before I came out to hike the AT. And now every time I see a large boulder, I think about all my friends back home. All right, so I just stopped to have a little snack at the last gap. And there were a few other hikers there that I've been seeing on and off trail and in towns and stuff. So just decided to sit down and eat a little snack with them. I've got like 3.3 miles to get to the shelter. And I thought earlier today that I might get there by 4 o'clock, but it's pretty much 4 o'clock now. So that's not gonna happen. So we'll push for 5. But honestly, I'll probably get there a little bit after 5, which is okay because it still gives me plenty of daylight to like set up my sleep stuff, eat dinner, and do all my chores before bed. I'm so excited to get there because I'm tired of walking today. It's been an 18-mile day today, basically. Well, by the time I get to the shelter, it'll be 18 miles or a little more than that. And I'm super excited to get to Erwin tomorrow and to get rid of these shoes because they are really getting on my nerves. They're just so narrow and I feel it more and more every day. I think because like my feet are swelling, and so I probably need to go up in shoe size, but we'll figure that out tomorrow at the outfitter. And I think I also want to pick up like a pair of tights like to hike in because I have my Smart Wool tights that I use to sleep in, and I don't really want to hike in them because I don't want to sweat in them and then have to sleep in them later on at night. So pretty much all I have are my shorts and my rain pants during the day. And I'm feeling like I want to be able to throw on some tights under my shorts on like colder days like today. So I think I might pick those up while I'm in Erwin also. And yeah, we'll take it from there. But for now, let's just hustle to the shelter because it's getting cold again. Or maybe that's just because I was sitting down, not moving. So I'm about 0.2 miles away from the shelter, and I was hustling to get up there when I see this sign for water. And so I was like, wait a minute, let me see if there's actually water at the shelter, because if I go past this water source, ain't no coming back. And sure enough, there is no water at the shelter. So I'm going to have to pick up some water here and carry it up there. So it's a good thing I stopped and double checked before I kept going, because I already made this mistake once and I'm not about to make it again. Cause I'm all alone, there's no one here beside me. Looks like I'm the only one here. I don't think anyone else is planning to stay here tonight. This should be fun. Okay, so maybe I'm not quite done hiking today. I took a look on the Far Out app, which I use for navigation and all that stuff, and I saw on there that there were some pretty great tent spots past the shelter. So rather than sleeping there by myself tonight, if I'm gonna sleep alone, I may as well sleep alone in my tent at a site that's all to myself. So we're gonna hike a little further and see what we can find. And as an added bonus, this will put us a little bit closer to Erwin. So I'll have less than 6 miles to hike tomorrow morning. So it's only like 5:11, 5:12 p.m. So still got plenty of time to see what's around. So we're gonna find some place to camp tonight, and then we're gonna brace ourselves for the cold that's coming in tonight. All right, so I ended up adding an extra 3 miles on the day to make it 21 and a half miles. When I saw that there were some tent sites just past the shelter, I thought that just past the shelter meant maybe a few yards, not a few miles. But you know what? That's okay, because I'm gonna have a really easy 3-mile hike into Erwin tomorrow, as opposed to a 6.5-mile hike. So that's great. And I'm all set up here on top of this ridge. It's getting quite cold, so I'm about to find somewhere to set up my bear line, get changed into some warmer clothes, and then get started on dinner. But should be a really nice night and a nice sunrise in the morning, so I'm excited about that. All right, it is around 9:15 p.m. and I am going to bed. Funny enough, someone just literally hiked past my campsite like a minute ago, and I'm like, why are you still hiking? Maybe they're just going all the way into Erwin since it's only 3 miles away. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna get up when I feel like it tomorrow, because it's an easy 3 miles, all downhill. Shouldn't take me more than an hour to get into town, and then I'll get all my resupply and stuff done. And tomorrow night I'll be staying at Uncle Johnny's hostel in Erwin, so I'm pretty excited about that. Heard a lot about it, and I'm excited for the warmer temperatures that are coming later this week. Yay! Spring is actually coming. Yeah, it's probably going to be a chilly night in the mid-20s. But I've got my hand warmers, my toe warmers, all my layers on, and I'm probably going to hike into town in all my layers tomorrow morning. So yeah, this has been day 35. I'm now at AT mile 340. Yeah, so that's gonna do it. I'll see y'all in the morning, so have a good night. Hey y'all, good morning. Today is Monday, March 28th, and it's day 36. As you can probably imagine, it's cold, but thankfully it's nothing worse than what I've already experienced out here. It's around 7:30 in the morning, and I've got an easy 3-mile hike into Erwin, Tennessee. So I don't even think I'm gonna bother making breakfast. I just want to get into town so that I can get a real breakfast and some real food. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start packing up and make my way in. And I'm not even gonna shed any layers just because it's cold and I don't feel like it. Yeah, the sun's coming up and it looks really pretty. So I'll show you a shot of that. And we'll get to hiking into town in just a few minutes. We're going into town. We're gonna get some food and some new shoes. Ow. In like 1 hour, I will be in town. Hopefully walking inside of a warm restaurant where I'll get some hot coffee and a nice warm meal. I'm so excited. Yay. Let's go to Erwin, Tennessee. I guess I slept pretty good last night. I mean, I curled up under that quilt so hard. And anytime I moved and a little draft came in, I was like, oh no. And I had to like pull the quilt back over my head. Yeah, it was cold. Cold. 20, 25 degrees, something like that. But we made it. We're still here. We're still moving. And we're going into town. Yay! So today's gonna be a Nero. So I'm only hiking 3 miles. It's 8:30 right now. And I should be getting to town by 9:30. So I'll basically have the whole day almost as if I was taking a 0. And then tomorrow I'm planning to hike out because I've got miles to kill. So that's the plan, and I'll see you in town. All right, Erwin, I'm coming for you. All right, so I just made it to Uncle Johnny's hostel, which is right off the trail. I'm gonna be crashing here for the night. It's right around 10 a.m. and he told me I could use one of the bikes to take into town because I missed the breakfast shuttle. I definitely want to go eat breakfast somewhere. So I'm about to ride into town and see what's what. And I might get my whole like resupply shoe swap thing done while I'm in town too. So I only have to go once because I'm only gonna be here for today. But yeah, let's make it happen. Yeah, the good stuff. Now this is definitely my candy of choice on trail. I love me some caramel creams, and just 3 of these is 140 calories. So I'm picking them up any chance I get, and I will carry this entire pack.
I had buddies who had a lot of problems with shoes and whatnot. They hiked out in the Smokies in their Crocs.
Yeah, I almost hiked out in these a couple times because.
You put socks on and wear them.
Well, what do you know? New shoes strikes again. I've been complaining about how these Brooks Cascadias on the left are feeling tighter and tighter on my feet by the day, and how my toenails are starting to press up against the front of the shoe, specifically when I'm going downhill. So I ran to the outfitter here in Erwin and picked up a brand new pair of shoes. This will be my third pair, and I haven't even traveled 400 miles yet. But funny enough, I started off wearing a size 9.5, and now I'm a size 11. So I bought these Keens right here. They're a little heavier than Brooks and Ultra, but the great thing about shoes is that I'll be wearing them instead of carrying them. So I don't really care about that. But you can tell by the insoles here how much more space the Keens give me, especially in the toe box area. And they felt really good in the store. So I'm excited to give these a whirl, and I hope my feet stop growing so that I don't have to keep switching out shoes. And I think that I have been able to manage my toe enough to where I should not lose any nails, at least for now, and hopefully not at all, but we'll have to see about that. So yeah, these Brooks will be going in the hiker box where there's already a stack of shoes that have been left behind, and these Keens are now coming with me. So I can't wait. Okay, so I've pretty much finished everything that I need to do today. I got my resupply done this morning. I just took a shower. The only things I have left are laundry, which that's something because the wash machine here at the hostel is not working. So now we kind of have to share. We kind of have to share the staff's wash machine in between them, like washing towels and loaner clothes and stuff. So it's a little bit of a longer wait to do laundry, but it's no big deal. It's only like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I still have the rest of the day, and I don't necessarily need to leave super early tomorrow, even though I am going to try to do about 17 miles, but I can probably leave around 10, 11 and still be okay. Yeah, then I need to just finish recording this vlog and then edit it tonight and schedule it to post before I leave. But thankfully I have a few days before that's gonna go up. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, resting up. I'm excited that I finally have some new shoes again, which this is my third pair, and I haven't even done 500 miles yet, which is crazy, but at the same time, I like my feet. I think I have nice feet, and I would like for them to stay that way. So if something isn't feeling right, I'm gonna figure out what it is and I'm gonna make the change. So yeah, let's enjoy the rest of the day here at Uncle Johnny's hostel in Erwin, Tennessee. Why am I doing that?
It's a little warmer over here.
Hello.
Shit, that's why everybody moved over here, huh?
Yeah.
What's your trail name? I know I've seen you around.
Rolo.
Rolo. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I
Is
thought
somebody
maybe
sitting
you were.
here?
I think someone's sitting there.
But not
You can
there.
move
That's where
her
we're